Welcome to Something Crunchy. Tyler is homies with Blake. Blake is the older bro of Blair. Blair is married to Tyler, and is a slutty slut.
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
What the hell is crunchy?
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
Welcome to another special edition episode of Something Crunchy. I'm Cullen Blake. With me as always, Blair and Tyler Dressel. It's officially Crunchtober. Yeah! It's our favorite time of the year. As you know, we dedicate the whole month of October to horror, and we are starting this year off right.
Yes!
We have the perfect Crunchtober guest on with us. You've seen her in movies like Painkillers, Murder RX, and 1BR, and she famously played the role of Pepper in American Horror Stories, Asylum, and Freak Show. Please welcome Naomi Grossman.
Hi there. Happy October.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. How are you, Miss Naomi?
I'm fabulous.
We are so excited to have you on. We are big fans, and I remember like it was yesterday when you broke the internet after everyone found out what you look like in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Everyone loves to talk to you about Pepper. I can't imagine how many times that you've talked about Pepper. Let's talk about Pepper.
I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. It's fine. I get it.
It's an incredible role.
Yeah.
So tell us,
Totally.
what are some of the most common Pepper questions you get?
Lately, it's, what does Peter smell like? What does Cody Fern smell like? What does Sarah Paulson smell like? Are these kids like going around sniffing each other? I don't
These
get
are the
it.
questions you're getting?
Wow. All sensory-related questions? Or like...
That's the latest. Yeah, that's the new thing,
Not the route we've taken.
Exactly. Before that, it was, the typical the makeup take. Were you scared on set? What was the hardest part? What is Jessica Lange like? Just that kind of thing.
Right on. I guess my only Pepper-centric question is more of a curiosity on acting when you're playing a role that is so outside of yourself. Was it challenging to play Pepper all day with her mannerisms and then have to re-Naomi when it's time to go to the grocery store or run errands after work?
I know technically it's supposed to be harder to, play outside of yourself. But no, I find I'm way more comfortable as someone other than myself. When they say, "Oh, throw it away, just be yourself," I'm like, ew, like, no, I don't want to be myself. Like,
I'm not here to do that.
Yeah, like I have to be myself every day. Like this is the day, I got hired to be someone other than myself. So, yes, I'm sure some psychologists would have something to say about that, why it is that I want to be, I'm comfortable being everyone other than myself.
Makes sense, though.
But yeah, no, honestly, like, it's interesting. It's almost like if you've ever had the experience of like going in a wig shop and you put on the wig, like I kind of, when I put on a big, long, dark mane, I just turn into Sofia Vergara.
Yes.
It happens. Like I cannot control my Colombian accent. Whereas, the Pepper makeup was similar. Like it sort of, as long as I had that on, I kind of wanted to go there. And, then when the makeup came off, the Pepper went off with it. So
really?
No.
So you could turn it on and off like that. I'm just trying to picture you in line at the bank or asking what aisle has laundry detergent after playing Pepper all day. And that seems really...
Just her Pepper coming out.
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
Sorry, I just finished filming.
No, I mean, I think because they are so far apart from each other,
Yeah.
it's easy not to like accidentally grunt, your, order at the grocery store, or, you know what I mean? Like, because they are so far, you don't accidentally make those mistakes.
And you found inspiration from the real life person Pepper's character is based on, right? Schlitzie Surtees, is that correct?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And so did you do a lot of research and study on Schlitzie?
For sure. So, my homework was really watching that movie, Freaks, which of course is a 1933, classic black and white film.
I didn't know it was that old. I was thinking that was like 50s or 60s. It was in the 30s.
Oh no,
Wow.
It was in the 30s. And it was banned in a lot of places. It was considered really controversial. But I watched that. I don't, now that I think about it, I think that movie, the video store closed down. I think I still have their copy. Oops. But yeah, I just watched it on a loop, and then, and even there were times I'd be in my trailer, and before I had to go on, shoot a scene, I would quick YouTube Schlitzie just to, remind myself.
That's awesome. The only thing I can compare that to is trying to do impressions, and it always helps to either hear the person I'm trying to do the impression of, or even better, hear someone else do the impression of that person. And that always seems to
give you a baseline.
Find it more. Yes. And tell me if okay, can I do that or not?
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
And
I did that with Tin Cup, and every golf tournament I ever played, like right before I went out, I always watched the end scene to Tin Cup where he put 3 in the drink and then drained one on 18.
Did you play better?
Always.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing where you find inspiration.
Always in the movies.
Well, you get so much love for playing this role, and it's all incredibly well deserved. The season 10 double feature just started a couple weeks ago from the time we recorded this. Have you watched any of the seasons that you haven't been in?
Yes.
Any favorites?
Wait, by the way, I said yes very enthusiastically, and yet I have to tell you, you did cut out for just a second. And so I want to make sure, and then you see surprise. So I want to make sure I am answering appropriately to the right question. Your question was, have you watched any of Double Feature?
Yes. I asked if you had seen any of that or any of the other seasons that you haven't been in.
Okay. So yes, I can enthusiastically answer yes.
Nice.
I just started watching. Don't get me wrong. I am biased, and I do prefer the seasons I'm in. It's just I can't help it.
That is so funny that you say that. I have something to play for you. My favorite, hands down, is Freak Show.
Really?
Not even
I
close.
love Freak Show.
Not even close. I thought the cast was its best.
Cast was great.
I was really into Asylum. Boom.
Wow, there you go. Mic drop.
That was said 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Wow. Well, we have that in common. I think Freak Show is my favorite.
Yes.
Probably. I love the humanity of it. It's hard for me, of course, to separate myself from the experience of it. Was also my favorite.
I can't imagine.
Living, first of all, New Orleans just is better than LA, period. Like, objectively, it's just the facts.
Yep.
It's
for the culture.
It's just cooler,
yeah.
Period. Yeah. I live in LA, but I still prefer NOLA.
That's awesome.
And so being able to go there and, have to, quit my day job to go be a TV star and live in this cool haunted hotel in essentially a freak dorm of dandy down the block, and it was that was really unique. It was just such a special time, and the freak and I would head down to the clothing optional country club to go watch the show every Wednesday with the rest of the world. It was just wow, that's so special. And that was just that was off camera. You can only imagine on camera, sharing the scene, the screen with these people. You had A-listers. You've got folks like Jessica Lange,
Kathy
who
Bates.
Oscar, Emmy, yes. And then of course you had
Angela Bassett.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson, who hadn't won Emmys yet, but you could just smell them on her. She was,
she did
and-
really good
Better
at
at
the time.
time.
yeah. And then there were, folks like the Freaks who, wow, what a group. I mean, people like, Rose Siggins, who was essentially, born without legs, working as a auto mechanic in Pueblo, Colorado, basically on a skateboard, like wheeling in and out of cars, like, fixing them from underneath, like, and they found her and they brought her and they made her a TV star. And so to have like that range, you know what I mean, of human experiences, it was really, really special. And never mind the show itself. Like, I think just the end product, I'm really proud of it. And of course my role was that much better. We got to really see Pepper's story.
You had a
which
whole
was,
episode like for that story. And
One of my favorite characters.
It was unforgettable.
Yeah.
Having no experience to it whatsoever, and just as a viewer, I think we unanimously agree that was definitely the best overall season.
It was special to
Standalone.
watch. So you can imagine behind the scenes, there is such a unique bond between everyone, because it showed that way and it was incredible. I mean, I feel like so many can relate.
Well, and on top of Freak Show, I agree. I think Asylum is a really close second. Like, it's legit scary. Like, they really managed to, take all the horror tropes, throw them on a canvas, see what stuck, and like a lot of them stuck. Like, it was pretty darn scary. It worked. Yeah. So yes, those are my favorite, and yes, they're the ones I was in. And so is it a coincidence? I don't know. But I will say, when I was first enthusiastically answering your question, I thought it was, have you been watching, season 10 double feature, and how do you like it? And I am hooked. Like, I love this show.
I'm super into it. So right now there's been 3 episodes out, and I want to talk about it without giving away any spoilers. So this is Red Tide. There's 6 episodes of what we're seeing now, and then I understand they change it to 4 more, which is clearly alien based, and there's supposed to be some crossover or tie. Do you know anything on the inside?
Even if I did, I
know.
You can't. Yeah.
I know.
No, I couldn't tell you.
Although she wants to.
Sure you can.
She wants to.
I want to know something to tell you, but I don't. I really don't. I'm so sorry.
Okay, well then that's even better. All right, now that you've gotten that out of the way, then you can tell us freely, like, where you think they could take it. Now that you have been a part of 2 seasons yourself.
I was in Apocalypse as well, but I wasn't Pepper.
Well, we're in Apocalypse.
I was one of the Satanists. Do you remember how the Michael, what's his name? Anton LaVey, the Satanist church, head comes knocking with his sort of 3 wise men, kind of, essentially. With Kathy Bates, me, and Anton LaVey.
Gosh.
Holy shit.
But anyway,
how did I not? I've even seen your American Horror Stories. The Drive-In. Scissors. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes. Oh my God.
I won't spoil that, but keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, literally. Keep one eye out.
Oh my God.
And hopefully covered.
But I love pop-ins of recurring characters or actors. Like, we fall in love with y'all, so it's like, to see you come up again. It's like, we remember
Easter egg.
Sure.
Yeah, especially for the Super Pepper fan who actually knows what I actually look like, and to see me look like myself, that's pretty exciting.
And you have a pretty memorable face.
Well, thank you, much to my chagrin. There were people who said, oh my gosh, it was so nice seeing you like play yourself. And I'm like, yeah, but like I don't stab virgins. Like again, like not myself.
Yeah.
Like
Not myself.
Still a character.
not myself.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't wearing 20 pounds of makeup, but wasn't playing myself.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Still is a character.
It's still a character.
Okay, so in these 3 seasons of American Horror Story, making up
Yes.
1/3 of the seasons, who was most fun to work with on set?
Ooh, fun. Okay, this is going to sound, you're going to take this the wrong way.
I am.
Well, not you personally, but I can just imagine your listeners are like, groan. I was.
Yeah.
No, truly,
The glue.
I was the most fun. I'm not saying that other people weren't, you name it, name the adjective, but I think Pepper got to have the most fun. Like my role, a lot of it was improvised. I was basically given this very broad direction, and that was to do Schlitzie, which essentially meant like just knowing this person inside and out, nailing his gestures, walk, talk, you name it. And so, a lot of like while I was not just on set, but even off set, because just like you said, the minute that, wig goes on, the minute that the hair, in my case, in Pepper's case, comes off and the prosthetics go on, like I just sort of become Pepper. And so, yeah, I absolutely had, crew members asking me to pull their finger and, you name it. Like I was the fun one. I was the one who wanted to play and that people wanted to play with. Yeah, I mean, I'm answering honestly.
Yes.
But that said, there were definitely, there's always various personalities on a set. I would say Sarah Paulson does have a really great sense of humor.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You wouldn't necessarily know that because, she's often like hysterically crying
Always,
in the roles that they cast her in. But no, she's quite funny. The Freaks too. We had a really fun kind of rapport amongst us. I remember, oh, poor guy. We lost him now, but Meep.
Yes.
Do you remember Ben Wolf?
Yeah.
Yes. He and I would laugh for hours. He was a terrible speller, and he would text me, hey, I just got raped. And I was like, what? Because, he's small enough. He could have, And I was like, you mean wrapped? Because, in Hollywood land, like that means you're done for the day. You just got you're finished. They sent you home. So I'm like, you mean wrapped? And he's like, oh yeah. So that became our joke. From then on. It was always like, oh, boy, you got raped. Wait. Oh, can't wait for the rape party. Oh, So, we, in general, I would say, the Freaks and I, especially since our responsibilities were probably less than some of the series regulars, we got a chance to, joke more than your, average freak.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Speaking Blair's language now.
That's really funny.
I feel like we've become more PC in the years since. And so, again, I don't know. Maybe that's triggering and half the audience is like tuned out.
No, not our audience.
Yeah,
Not our
No.
Okay.
No.
If they're here, no. This is toned down.
This is the show you can get the story on.
God, so I once saw a video of you taking questions by a little kid, and you were talking about Pepper, and you told him American Horror Story is especially scary because it's based on real events. And your face, as soon as you said that, was priceless. Immediately, you were like, yeah, I forgot how young you are.
It's so crazy, though, how young some of these fans are. I mean,
They're into it.
There's another video that I thought you were referring to, in which a child who I swear maybe 4 or 5,
Oh my God.
is like at my little table at a Comic-Con, And, he's kind of fangirling. I mean, he doesn't really, he's too young to even recognize shapes yet, but he's still excited to talk to me. And, we ask him like, oh, so what's your favorite season? And he's like, summer. It's like, no. Like, favorite season of American Horror Story. Oh, the clown one. I'm like, oh my God.
Clown one.
He's seen it.
He's seen them. Yes.
That would be our kid.
That's wild. I was gonna say, I think your kids have only seen a couple seasons.
Just like a couple seasons.
Only
the first two.
But I think it's. Listen, I'm not a breeder, so far be it for me to tell people, what they should or should not show their children. But my parents raised me, I don't want to say wrong, but they basically forbade the television. Like, it was the boob tube. It rotted the brain, right? Okay. So basically, all we watched was Sunday Morning with Charles Kuralt, which is basically an hour long, like, watching, like, leaves in New England fall, right? Or like wheat in Nebraska wave.
Sounds like the aquarium channel, like number one.
Yeah, basically. We'd watch that or Cosmos with Carl Sagan. So you've got to imagine, like, really highbrow, just intellectual stuff, for lack of a better word. And therefore, like, I grew up basically like sneaking Family Ties and, like, watching Facts of Life and then, like, quick turning it off because, like, someone's coming. You know what I mean? Other kids were off, like, drinking and smoking and, like, really rebelling, while I was, like, just getting my Cosby Show fixed. You know what I mean? So the fact is, like, I think it's okay to, like, let your kids see stuff, because if you don't, they might grow up to want to be a TV star. Right.
Wow.
And you don't want that, believe me. It's like, that's the last thing you want your child to grow up to be.
Oh, that is amazing. Well, yeah. I'm excited to keep going. But before we do, let's take a break. This season of Something Crunchy is brought to you by Chronic Token. Chronic Token, ticker symbol CHT, is a decentralized blockchain payment solution system designed for and by the cannabis community. The cannabis industry grossed over $25 billion last year just in the United States alone. More states are getting legalized, these businesses are booming, and blockchain technology is the future. This all-in-one POS payment system combines passport and ID scanning, rewards, and inventory tracking, making this the first seed-to-sale system of its kind. It will not only bring ease and convenience for both dispensaries and their customers, but Chronic Token solves a lot of the headaches these businesses are having. You get rewarded consistently just for being a holder, and Chronic Token even has an app making it extremely easy to both purchase and stake your CHT. Whether you're looking for the next hot coin to invest in, or maybe you keep hearing about cryptocurrency and you're ready to get your foot in the door, Chronic Token is our recommendation for you. That's ticker symbol CHT, available on Uniswap and directly through the Chronic Token app. Get links, videos, and more information at chronictoken.io, and check out their socials at Chronic Token CHT.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for listening to Something Crunchy, and we hope you're enjoying the episode. It now pays to crunch down every week because we're hooking you up with big discounts from big brands. Up to 35% off Invicta watches using code CRUNCHY, and apparel from 8080, where in addition to 10% off using code CRUNCHY, every dollar you spend goes towards an entry in their dream car giveaway. Don't forget to join the Something Crunchy Facebook group for updates, polls, and the web's crunchiest memes. You can find us on Twitter at crunch_cast, and feel free to send any questions and track submissions to somethingcrunchy@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the show.
And we're back. with Miss Naomi Grossman.
Yeah.
So you have done way more than just AHS, and you've also done a lot more within the horror genre. Was this by design or circumstance?
Total circumstance. Nothing has been designed here.
Really?
Yes. I really fancied myself a comedian.
When you started in comedy, right? Growlings?
Right. And I really honestly always felt that this business is so hard that like the least you can do is like find a gimmick, like get your genre and go with it and just do that, And so I figured, that was very really broad sketch comedy and improv was my thing. And so that's really pretty much was my concentration. It's not to say that I hadn't, studied and, I was a theater major in school and, I'd done my homework. I'd, done Chekhov and Ibsen and all that, but I really wasn't, I wasn't trying to do drama. I was definitely not trying to do horror. But I also was trying to just get a job. And so when I got the, audition for American Horror Story, I thought, of course I'm going to go out for it. But I like I said, I just wanted to, get paid. Like
You're going to take the avenue that you could, and it happened to be horror.
I wasn't going for that. But yes, I do think it's no coincidence. I think that horror and comedy are strangely linked.
They are strangely
in a way that
linked.
I'd never thought of it, but they really both celebrate these really over the top characters. I mean, when you think about like, Freddy Krueger or, these, a man with a burnt face and, his glove, scissors on his gloves, like, it's so ridiculous.
No, you could just change the scoring and like a little bit of writing and it's a comedy.
Yeah.
A lot of horrors have comedy as well. It's like part of it.
Well,
like
that's
trickery
true.
too,
Yeah, I think that is a hard genre. But yes, I agree. Like you fall down the stairs and if the person like is okay, it's a comedy. And if they die, it's
a horror.
Drama, Yeah. So I do think it's really a matter of sort of just tuning that dial and kind of tempering, I definitely, Pepper totally could have existed on the Growling stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like she's
definitely
kind of, in fact, there were so many times where the producers would tell me, "Oh my God, you're hilarious in tonight's episode." And I'm like, thank you. Like it's not a comedy. Like actually there were lines that were hilarious that got cut. And I remember being like, oh, that was I love that line. But at the end of the day, we're not trying to do a comedy. So yeah they gotta cut that. There was this one in particular I recall where I pop up between Grace's legs in Asylum. I'm, delivering the baby. And I say, she's crowning. And then I continue. I said, when I crowned, I shot out like a bullet, which is hilarious because you would. Like if you have an arrow shoot out like a bullet. But yeah, I mean, every time I did it, the crew just like erupted in laughter. So of course, like if the crew's laughing, the audience definitely is. Yeah. And that's of course what they didn't want. So it didn't last, unfortunately. But I know. But I think it was my job to, in a way, I mean, don't get me wrong. The casting people were geniuses for casting me. I say that like tongue in cheek, but also like truly the fact that they were able to look past the fact that I didn't have a whole ton of, film and television experience, but acknowledge like, okay, this lady knows, improv. She can act to the back row. Like that face is going to penetrate this makeup, and she's going to do this character. And I did, but, I can't remember where this was going. But, the fact, but my job, of course, as, a character comedian was to sort of, temper my performance to be contained in this small screen, right? So even though if I turn her knob all the way to max, she could, she belongs on SNL with the Coneheads and Toonces the
right.
Cat
Yes.
and all the greatest hits, but because it's not SNL, it's up to me to kind of tone that down and, somehow find my place on the same show with, Jessica Lange and,
Yes.
some of these, acting greats.
Well, and you have clearly excelled at it, and now you are kind of synonymous with the horror genre. You kind of told us already you didn't grow up a big horror fan. You hoping to glimpse the Cosby Show. So, when did
which
you?
is a horror unto itself. But I digress.
Exactly. So, like, when did you start getting into this genre and get into any films of this flavor?
Well, I was, AHS definitely was the gateway drug. And, ever
Really?
since that,
So-
after that, that's when things sort of, kind of fell into place as far as horror is
Wow.
concerned. Yeah.
So you didn't watch The Exorcist and Poltergeist and all that as a teenager?
I mean, listen, I went to the slumber parties and I froze some bras in my day and I watched, through my, hands over my eyes, some, a movie here or there. But no, I wasn't a ginormous, like, horror freak at all.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
We were so that house that played The Exorcist and froze your bras.
For sure.
yeah.
Totally. Well, now that you have the experience you do, what are some of the qualities that you find are most important when it comes to making a good horror film, fundamental even?
Well, the music is so important.
Totally. Nailed it.
Music changes your mood for any of it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and that's why so many times people are like, were you scared, doing whatever? And I'm like, no, like,
There wasn't music when
I'm
I
on
did it.
set.
There wasn't
Cameras
music.
and lights and people.
yeah, like all those jump scares, all those like bumps in the night, they weren't actually there. We didn't, so no, the music and sound design is, huge.
I don't think it has to be budget. I think that's been proven. Like, in my opinion,
Definitely not.
True.
I think it's like the writing, like, give us the twists. It's the casting, because horror is not easy acting, and you need quality actors to sell it.
Yes.
And then, like you said, the music and the scoring is obviously just so impactful with how it's done.
Agree.
It's interesting how you're right about budget. Like, people say, like, that if you don't have a lot of money and you're trying to make a movie, like, make a horror movie. Like, that's the easiest budget or that's the easiest genre to get away with a lower budget. And I don't know why that is. Maybe you don't need all the lighting. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because it could just play off as creepy and it works.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, there's rarely those expensive, car crashes, or sometimes you can get away with not a huge list of big names. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I mean, like 1BR, the low budget movie I did.
saw 1BR. That was
I
interesting.
mean, look, Nicole Bryden Bloom, who totally carried that film. I mean, she's in like every frame of it. She was a total unknown, and yet it didn't matter. So I think that's another thing. Like, so many times people blow their entire budget just to get like a name.
Yeah.
And in this case, I probably was the name in that.
You were the name in that. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I still did it for peanuts because I'm really close with the producer, and we'd always talked about wanting to do a movie together, and he made it happen. But
Well, that's fun.
so I guess that's how how to make a movie on a low budget. Make sure
For
it's a horror.
Well, let's talk about casting for a second. When it comes to getting casted in parts, one of my favorite things about you is how you've had a more unique, aggressive approach. I really admired how you got noticed by Ryan Murphy and got casted not by waiting and hoping, but by doing and taking action. Please tell us about Red Me Entertainment and the background story behind this project.
Well, here's the thing. I will tell you, don't worry, I'm going to come back and answer the question. But I've written a new show, a one-woman show called American Horror Story, WHORE.
I love it.
And it's about exactly what you're talking about. It's like about the hustle. It's about like whoring yourself out and doing what you got to do to get what you want.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just got to whore yourself out. You heard of it?
Yeah. And it's not always bad. Like sometimes it's what you got to do. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm embarrassed that of having to be aggressive, but the truth of the matter is I was not being cast in a traditional way, period. Like I got my SAG card on my 15th birthday.
Wow.
I was 37 before I, could actually go to the doctor with SAG insurance. Okay. Like 20. Like
Wow.
That's enough time for most of my classmates to like have babies, and those babies grow up and rent cars. And here I can't even get a part nurse number 2 to the left, scalpel doctor. So yeah, it was one of those things where early on, like I would say, after I'd gotten my degree from a fancy theater school, which I thought meant I was like next in line for my own sitcom. Little did I know, it's not. It doesn't work like that. It's not like they give you your diploma and then a call sheet. Like it's like, And yet, there were enough people from my school that it sort of seemed like that's how it happened. So anyway, I basically a couple of years upon moving to Los Angeles, it still wasn't happening for me. And I really just looked deep inside and was like, well, what can I do? And I decided like, I really didn't have not only was I not good at anything else, but there was nothing else I wanted. Really, like I had to make this work. It really seemed like Hollywood did not want me, but like I needed to do something to prove them wrong or make them see what I saw in myself, but no one else seemed to, recognize. So that's when I decided if you don't want to cast me, I'll cast myself. And I did. So the Red Meat Entertainment was born out of actually, a lot of the sketches that I did on stage at the Groundlings, the ones that didn't make it on stage. And then even then some of them that did, I went ahead and, sort of just cast them and figured, okay, so they're not, they're not on Melrose Avenue being performed every Sunday. They're on the internet living there. You can watch them anytime. And so that's kind of what I did. I realized like it was absurd for me to expect to be, cast just based on a, headshot and, resume with nothing on it. I needed to actually, put something on that resume. I needed, Ryan Murphy to have something to Google. Like
Right.
Otherwise, why would he entrust me with a role like this? Now, obviously, I did not have Ryan Murphy on, and he wasn't on my radar per se, but I was just speaking like in general, like
Right.
Hollywood needed something to go off of, like, so, and the fact is, no regrets. Like,
Yes.
I feel like the way it works in Hollywood is you've got, the developmental actors, that is the actors first moving to town, who typically are cast in those, co-starring roles, those like I said, nurse number 2 to the left type roles. And I could not get those parts. And I see why. Like, and it's nothing against the people that do get those parts. Like, believe me, for a very long time, I wanted to be one of them. But the thing about those roles are they they are there to support the stars.
Mhm.
They are really there to kind of not disappear like background, but
Blend.
kind of blend in. And the fact is, I don't blend.
No,
I don't
you're
do
a
that.
Standout.
I do. I walk in a room and I'm gonna take the attention. Sorry. Like, it's
Love
why I'm
that.
single. It's like, it's just, that's who I am.
You
So,
steal the attention, and
yes,
that's
but
great.
that is why Pepper was actually like this perfect storm of a role for me, because she was a co-starring role. Like, she really, essentially, if you boil it right down, she grunted like a one grunt an episode. Like, she didn't have a whole lot to do. So, and besides, they're going to cover the person's face in prosthetics, so you're not going to give it to like a Lady Gaga. You know what I mean? Why would you waste Kathy Bates's face on a bunch of prosthetics like that? You know what I mean? You're paying top dollar for that face. Why would you cover it up? Whereas my face costs basically nothing. And so, yeah, cover it with whatever you want, So the fact is, Pepper was small enough of a role that I could actually get her, but she was also big enough, meaning a standout, like she was over the top enough that I could really shine, that I could really do
something
I
with it.
do. Yeah, that I wasn't, she's not a blend-in type character.
No.
And no character I've ever done has been. If I'm casting it, it's not going to blend in. Like, I remember I once worked as a background in the movie She's All That.
No way.
Yeah, and they made the mistake in the very
Wait,
last
what
shot.
scene?
The very last shot of that movie where Freddie Prinze Jr. is sitting in the graduation, he's not wearing any clothes, and I'm, they actually seated me right behind him, and I swear to God, I steal the scene.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't wait to see this.
Well, I can't help it. There's a naked man in front of me. Of course, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna. Cop a look.
How was
of course. I quite liked it. But, I guess what I'm saying is, like, that was, somehow they managed to let it slip by. Or maybe they liked it. Who knows? But the fact is, like, I have been on those sets where they're like, hey, yeah, you in pink, can you move, like, 50 feet back? Yeah, no, further, like 100 feet. Actually, can you just turn around? No, even worse. Actually, just go back to holding. We'll call you. Like, I do not blend in. So, this was actually like perfect role for me. And yeah,
It was
That's
meant to
awesome.
I
be.
can't remember.
And you
what
can't regret your approach.
No, exactly. So yeah, I was, I needed Hollywood to know what I knew about myself. And because, they weren't getting it, I was, spoon feeding it, until they ate it.
You can't look back now and say that was the wrong move. That was the right move.
I mean, listen, I tried all the other ways. I tried to quit and do something else. I tried auditioning for those nurse number 2 to the left type roles. Like, I did it all, and this is what stuck. Even then, it stuck 22 years later. So did it work? I mean, I don't even know if it works so much as I'm just super stubborn. I'm just really committed, and I've, like, obviously, I mean, nowadays with Facebook, like, we know what our elementary school crush like ate for breakfast. But even if it weren't for that, like, if you asked my elementary school crush, like, what is Naomi Grossman doing now? They'd be like, oh, she's probably on a stage or a screen somewhere. Like, I have always been this person. So yeah, 22 years was not going to deter me. Like,
and I understand that, acting, it seems like that has been the goal and a huge part of your life, but that doesn't make up all of Naomi. And here is where we switch gears, talk about the passions that you don't get asked about that often. However, we do our homework around here, and yours was pretty easy to discover. I'd like to move the conversation into a more yogic direction. I understand that you've been into yoga for over 15 years. That must make you like a master tier yogi.
Oh, I think way over that at this point. It's been, I think it was 99 when I got into yoga. Yeah.
Tell us about your yogic
before
journey.
yoga was even like such a crazy thing.
Yeah, actually. Well, I had a very dramatic breakup, which I won't spoil the solo show, but it involves a boyfriend falling off a pier into a coma, and I suffered quite a bit, as you do.
Of course.
Yes. And so, I was, I needed to center myself and breathe deep and, so I kind of found yoga and it stuck. And, what can I say? It's been quite a journey, and it's hardly the beginning. I mean, it's hardly the end. I'm right in the thick of it. I spent a while like in love with a certain yoga teacher. In fact, I mean, in these 23 years, you got to figure, of course.
Yeah.
But I think that relationship, and when I say relationship, it's totally one-sided. Like, I was just a student, but he was my like everything,
No, you don't have to explain it to me. I did yoga one time and I fell in love with my instructor, and it was like it was 20 minutes over a YouTube video.
Exactly. No, and now I recognize like it wasn't him at all. Like, it was yoga. Like, I love yoga, but I never had a man make me feel like that outside of the bedroom. You know what I mean? So it was a really intoxicating feeling. Yeah. But, and so, of course I go every day.
You're like,
actually, it's
you were
funny.
stimulated.
That one BR producer that I mentioned, who I'm close with, we do podcasts often to promote the movie, and he jokes that I've got my yoga cult that I go to every day, and he's always trying to work around the yoga cult, like, oh, what time's the yoga cult, and because his movie's all about a cult, and here I am in a cult. But yeah, it is, and it's like a cult. Like, I won't miss. Like, I cannot miss the cult. He thinks like they'll do something to me, but I'm like, no, it's self-inflicted. Like, I will do something to myself.
I need
so you drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So have you veered into any experimental yoga, the hot yoga, goat yoga? Are there any other farm animal yogas?
Cat yoga. That's it.
It's a new thing.
I mean, I am a purist. I've seen the YouTube videos of the goat yoga, and I think it's ridiculous.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Haven't done that. I have done hot yoga. I mean, listen, I appreciate, it's like they're all trees in the forest. You know what I mean? Like, I love them all. I prefer my Ashtanga and Vinyasa flow yoga, Dharma yoga. Like, I have my own, at this point, I'm enough of an aficionado that I know what I like and what I don't. Like, and, I don't know how big of a, how yogic your listeners are, but I personally don't love the hot yoga. Like, I think of it as kind of a crutch.
I see.
If I may, I mean, I'm a little, like I said,
you may.
I'm kind of a snob. I because the hot, you're sweating because it's 110 degrees in that room, not because you're actually working out. You know what I mean? Like, you might as well just go sit in a sauna. That's how I see it.
Like,
whereas,
false sense of like,
and people are like, oh my God, I lost 10 pounds. I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna go have a bottle of water and you'll put it right back on. Yeah. So, like, I personally appreciate like the arm balances and inversions and I like making myself sweat in a cool room. If I can make myself work out and get the same like result, if I myself without any of these crutches, much better. But that's how I feel about it.
I am totally like the way you just described the hot yoga and the losing 10 pounds by like the sitting. That's me. You described me in a nutshell. That is, you sold me on it. But
I almost like passed out in hot yoga where I'm the
it.
same as Naomi, where it's like,
Yeah.
I need a good headspace. I need a good teacher to help me connect and let me just like do me.
Come to Arizona. All yoga's hot
It
yoga.
is. I know. I'll go outside
Right.
and do yoga and like call it a day. Vinyasa.
We're nude.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I don't understand how people do hot yoga like in the dead of summer. It's like,
Mhm.
I can understand maybe like in the, New York winter or whatever, where you're just like,
Need to
anything
get
to
hot.
escape that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, I don't
You
understand.
need to go to your cult class.
Yes.
Get a real
Invite
workout.
Oh my
me,
God.
please.
No, that during the pandemic, it seriously like kept me alive. Like
Oh my God.
I'll never forget. Like, I mean, I was like sitting on this floor of my, on my mat in the studio as they were closing for the last time and just weeping. And that's when this teacher came to me and, said, "Oh, you don't look so good." And I was like, "I don't feel so good." And she said, "Well, we're going to be practicing at my house, like just a handful of us if you'd like to join." And I was like, yeah. And, I gave her my name and number. I mean, I didn't even know this lady. And I literally spent every single day for the last 18 months at her house.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it was funny. I mean, it was like, it was speakeasy because we were basically like, I was like having to sneak out to go like twist my body around with other people. Like it was
like a
so
good time.
forbidden. Oh yeah. But I mean, like if my neighbors knew, like I was leaving the premises to,
The compound.
to go breathe with others, Oh my God.
Have you ever experienced any sudmahi from yoga?
Ooh, what is that?
Experience like a high level of awareness or enlightenment even. Sudmahi is like the highest level of meditation that you can reach. Some people get, some levels of it from running through runner's high. I know yoga is like a real connective tissue to that.
Probably. I mean, I never knew that word, but that's probably what part of this like euphoria feelings of like super sexual attraction that I feel for my teachers. That's probably what that is. You know what I mean? Like this.
She's hitting it there.
Total. Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, our bodies and our minds are all connected. And, there's certain hip openers where I'll just cry. Like it's, and it's just like, wow, it just opens up certain things. It's wild.
That's
That is wild.
No, I've been there, especially when you're just feeling all the feels. You're going through a lot. I can be the same, very like in my head. Yoga can just like open up the doors to all of those feelings, good, bad, lets it all out. And when you leave, you're just like refreshed.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a whole nother person. Like, I'm like Sybil. Remember that movie? Yeah. Like I am full on multiple personality between the person that goes into the studio and the person who comes out. They are totally different.
Yeah.
And I don't even like that lady that goes in. Like, she's not nice. She's very impatient. She's, whereas I am so much just more equipped for this earth, as after yoga. Like, I can really, I don't know. It's like I can handle, I can handle it.
That right there, that is what a bunch of listeners connected with. Like, that is what a bunch of people totally grasped and was like, totally, that's why I do yoga. Or maybe it's not even yoga. And it's like, that's why I play guitar or run.
Yeah, that's why I
Help
drink.
me handle it. Like,
That's awesome. Well said, Naomi.
I'm excited just about what you said because honestly, like I do feel, I tend to proselytize about yoga, and I do feel like if I could just connect with one person, I've done my job.
Yes.
And it's true. Like I think back, well, my mom who used to like watch, she'd watch like the lady on PBS doing yoga, and like, other people in my life that like I kind of picked it up from. that I'm just like, thank you. Like that was the greatest gift they ever gave. Anyway, yes. What do I have next? Well, I just worked on a movie called Replica. It's Mickey Rourke has a cameo, as do I.
We're just talking about him.
Oh, you were? Cool.
Love Mickey Rourke.
Love Mickey Rourke.
Yeah. So that is really going to be fun. It's a independent, low budget movie. So I don't, who knows when we'll see it or where we'll see it or how we'll see it or any of those things. But I'm excited. I have a really juicy part. We did some real acting on that set. So I'm excited to see what they came up with.
Replica. Well, give us a little synopsis of what it's about.
Let's see. It is a love story between a Black trans woman and a neo-Nazi meth lord.
Wow.
Wow.
Now that's just a storyline. You don't see that every day.
No, I know they say there's no original stories in Hollywood, but I think we may have just found one.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Tickle me intrigued.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
It's no, I mean it's really like I mean, it's mostly there's already the fact that she's Black and he's a skinhead. There's that, and then when he finds out she's trans, well, I don't want to ruin anything.
Oh,
but
God, I need it.
I'm part of the neo-Nazi meth clique or cult, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
I'm one of the meth heads who comes to the flop house and do drugs. So it was super fun. I mean, talk about roles that are really far away from me. Like I got to watch a lot of Faces of Meth and Walmart ladies on tweakers at Walmart.
That homework is hilarious.
So good. Yeah, I mean, so hilarious and so heartbreaking all at once.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the most recent. But like I said, who knows when we'll see that. The other thing that's really taking up most of me is American Horror Story.
Wow.
Which I don't, it's hard, again, I don't know when or where that we'll see that either. I'm hoping to, send that to a Netflix or a, Hulu or Amazon or you name it, and have it, streaming as a 1-hour comedy special.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
My goal, because I thank you. I've done 2 solo shows prior, but those were I did them the way I could afford them at the time, and that was with my Spanish teacher budget. When I was conjugating verbs for money, and what didn't go towards rent and food went towards putting this play on stage. And I've been there, done that, and if worst case, if I have to put it up that way, then I will. But like I said, at this point I have my sights set on something much bigger. I've had a taste of the TV audience, and I want more of that.
Yes.
No, I think there's a lot more coming for Naomi.
Yeah.
Well, and they want to see it. Like, this is a story about, hustling. And you're going to see the pre-Pepper and the post-Pepper and the, becoming Pepper, during Pepper. And that's, I think it's a story that, I know people want to hear, because they show up at the Comic-Cons and they ask the questions and they love the answers. So wouldn't they want to see it like curated on stage?
Yes. Give the people what they want.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Well,
so
good luck with that. I really hope that this comes into fruition and that we are able to catch this on Netflix soon. That sounds so exciting.
I hope. Yeah, is Netflix listening? I hope, maybe.
I hope so.
Of course
Y'all getting crunchy?
We've got the yogis listening. We've got the
horror fans. This is Crunchtober.
Yeah.
We got a lot of horror fans tuning in right now.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
well, you
true.
have been such a delight to talk to, Miss
Yes,
Naomi. I
thank
cannot
you.
thank
Thank you
you
so
enough
much.
for coming on. Really hope we get the chance to talk again sometime.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me anytime.
Of course, we'll have a wonderful rest of your Crunchtober, and please don't be a stranger.
I won't. Namaste to you.
Namaste, Naomi.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Naomi.
Naomi.
She was awesome.
I'm glowing.
I'm glowing here. She was
How
awesome.
fun was she?
God, I love some of the insights behind American Horror Story. I
That
love
would
that
be-
she watches the other seasons that she wasn't in, caught up to date and hooked on the new season. I hate that I didn't know that she was in Apocalypse. Blair, where were you on that?
How did we not know that? But I, like you said, though, we were a little in and out of
No,
Apocalypse.
and we
so
were. That was my excuse, and that
We're
was
good
true.
about catching
It
these
doesn't
things.
change the fact that someone from the Crunchtastic R&D department is getting
Yeah,
so
they-
fired once we're out
You're
here.
gone.
totally dropped the ball there.
9 iron. Huh?
No, but can you imagine being on that set of Freak Show? Like she said, like what an experience, like even behind the scenes, seeing again, like the people from the big names to the freaks, like she said. I mean, I would call them that. But, you know, whatever. It's just such an experience. How cool is she?
She's great.
Wow.
She was super cool. A fun way to start Crunchtober.
Oh, now I'm just so excited for Crunchtober.
Oh, and things are just heating up in season 5. Crunchtober has just begun. And 8080's Dream Car giveaway number 50 for an A90 Supra plus $40,000 in cash is going on right now. The deadline to enter is October 10th. You do not want to miss out. Nor do you want to forget to check out somethingcrunchy.com, where you'll find every episode, our links for social media, and the almighty Crunch Store, where you'll find all kinds of crunchy gear showing that you are a proud citizen of Crunch Nation. Then there's the Something Crunchy Facebook group. Oh man, if you haven't checked it out, come get weird with us in there and find us on TikTok, YouTube, and Pornhub as well. This has been another episode of Something Crunchy. And as always, don't ever forget to live your crunchiest life.
And be crunchy to one another.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and all that crunchy good shit. Thank you for listening.
And as always, don't ever forget to live your crunchiest life. I got to start that. Ran out of gas. Ran out of gas.
Life.
This has been another...
There you go.
Coins are down.